So I am doing these video blogs, and most of them are going to be art related, but there's supposed to be one every week that's at least not art related and just me doing part of my life or something. So this time I'm going to make my zucchini casserole, and I'll explain it as I go. Last week I talked about Art Basel, which is a trip that I want to go on. So this week I'm going to share one of my favorite recipes. And the reason why I love this is I'm a busy artist, right? So the great thing about this is you can make it and then you can, it's a pretty big recipe, so I freeze it. I cut it up into like little serving sizes, and then I put each serving size in a Ziploc bag, and then I put it in the freezer, and then I have something really, really good to eat all week, which helps me stay on my healthy diet much better, which I'm on a low carb diet, but that's a whole nother video. So stay tuned and we're gonna start cooking. For this recipe, you need a 13 by 9 inch casserole dish. The recipe calls for 4 cups of shredded zucchini. Meanwhile, I'm going to get my oven heating up to 400 degrees. There's actually 2 phases of cooking this. You have to first cook the bottom part, like the crust part, and then you will cook the rest of it. Meanwhile, I'm going to make some caramelized onions and garlic and heart-healthy grass-fed cow butter. Then you're going to brown some ground beef, and mine's frozen, so I'm just going to let it heat up with the lid on for a minute, and then I'll work with it. Next, the recipe says to put the zucchini in a strainer and sprinkle it with salt. So I don't know why. Maybe it helps the liquid get out of the zucchini. So then you're supposed to let it sit with the salt in the strainer for 10 minutes. So there it's going to sit. For the crust, we're going to put some mozzarella cheese. This is about a cup. And then we're going to put half cup of cheddar in here, and then a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese, and mix it all together with 2 eggs and zucchini. Okay, so we've got a cup of mozzarella and about a cup. I don't have enough mozzarella though, so I'm going to add extra cheddar. So this is supposed to be a half a cup of cheddar, but this is probably more like a cup of cheddar. And then mozzarella. You're supposed to put a quarter cup in with this part and a quarter cup later, but again, I'm gonna go for the extra cheese. So this is gonna be a little bit more than a quarter cup, because I'm crazy like that. And you just mix it all together. And I'm going to put a couple eggs in. Like so. Oh la la. Oh la la. And I'm going to take my zucchini and take a paper towel and kind of blot it so it's as dry as possible. And I'm going to put it in with the cheese mixture, and that will be the crust. I'm just going to spray my 13 by 9 pan and dump this in here. This is going to be so good, and it's so healthy. This is such a healthier option for a crust than a flour crust. With all the new health research coming out now by all the thought leaders are saying that Now they're saying that fat is not the enemy, the carbs are the enemy. And I totally believe that because I feel like junk when I eat carbs. So go for the zucchini crust, folks. Okay, so I'm gonna put my crust, there it is, in the 400-degree oven, and I'm gonna bake it for 20 minutes. So I'm cooking up my hamburger meat with the onion and the garlic, and it's about ready for me to put in the secret sauce. Oh la la! The secret sauce is none other but this time I'm going to use artichoke Parmesan marinara. The recipe calls for just straight up tomato sauce, but that's so boring, right? So this sounded much yummier. So I'm going to go for this time. Hey folks, it looks like the crust is ready. Ooh la la, yum yum yum. So there's the crust, which it looks perfect. So now I just have to put the next part on top, which is the pound of hamburger meat with the sauce and the onions. Going to dump in the meat part. Spread that around. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for lunch. Okay, so basically the next step is just to put it in the oven a little bit longer to let all the cheeses melt. So you just top it with Parmesan cheese. The more, the merrier. So we've got all the cheese on there. You're supposed to sprinkle bell pepper on top of this. It's supposed to be green bell pepper, but who needs to follow a recipe exactly? That's kind of boring. Sprinkle the bell pepper on top of the hamburger mixture with the cheese. Then we're going to bake this for, I think, 20 more minutes. I'm going to try my masterpiece. It looks fantastic, no? So I'm not the best at plating, but I'm good at eating.